So this is just let's just put it out there. This is a total bop.
Yeah.
This is just
Yes.
this is just glow sticks kind of raving. All it needs is like a ooh yeah, oh yeah. I want that 90s remix right now.
Yeah.
um
Wow.
well, it's easy enough, I'm sure. It is on a technical level really nice to hear Breton back at Eurovision after in 1996 it didn't do too well.
Hmm.
But then that was in the time where every song sounded almost the same
Yeah.
because everyone wanted it to sound like Ireland. Um, so it's nice to see a kind of like a totally different way of seeing the language. There's so much atmosphere. There's plenty of kind of earworms. There's different kind of rhythms that go on. I also love in the staging the different roles that the people on stage play.
Mm.
So you've got like the three girls who are sometimes like together, sometimes apart, sometimes stood behind each other, walking along, and then you've got that man. He's huge, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like 7 foot tall or something. So you've got like him there with this like mini instruments, and then he's like singing, or he's kind of doing big fish, little fish, cardboard box. And then you've got the whacking woman, who's just my favorite woman here. I just love it when she does those windmill arms thing. I'm just like transfixed by her. I just think the whole thing just works so well. I I cross my fingers that they're gonna make the staging similar, but maybe a bit bigger,
Mm.
maybe a bit more polished. I also hope they don't faff about with the outfits too much. I love the black with like the different gold
Yeah.
embroidery
Yeah.
kind of bits. I think they're great. I just hope they don't mess about with it too much, because as a basic concept as it was at the national final, it was fine. It just needs to be made bigger.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love this song.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with you, Anne. And it just as someone who is mostly who according to my 23andMe profile is genetically mostly Celtic, I do feel kind of like happy that something like unashamedly Celtic in its presentation and stuff like that is like showing itself in a like kind of like a modern way kind of thing. And that melody, like if you're familiar with like some French folk songs like Le Tribute de Danard, that's a very kind of Breton kind of melody that they sing. So it's, you know what I mean, it's very much
Mm.
achieving its goal in taking a traditional form of folk music and giving a modern spin on it. I do kind of worry that maybe the juries might think it's a bit too messy, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. And I do kind of agree with you, Anne, that while I do think the staging in the national final was very good, like I do think like for the bigger stage, like it would be good to elevate it, but in a way that doesn't, as you say, faff around with it too much. But yeah, I really enjoy this song as well. So yeah. What about you, John?
Tandoi. Oh, well, Tan gave us walk so this group could run.
Yeah.
Um, we had a lovely conversation on this podcast some time ago when we reviewed the 96 podcast, and reminiscing about the Breton language, not thinking that it would ever come back to Eurovision, but here we are,
Yeah.
and all the better for it. Yeah, this is my jump up and down rave song of the year. Most years have one, and You have to have at least one, I think.
Yeah.
How do I think this is going to do? Is it going to do as well as Voila? Probably not. What I think might happen is, if we look back to the last time France finished second, back in 1991, the year after they came up with something very different in another language, just like they're doing this year, but in a Creole language that time. And that was 8th place, I think, lower top 10. So
Yeah.
I could see something similar happening here.
We need more French outside the box, don't we? That early 90s period was just
Yeah.
It really was.
Chef's
It
kiss.
really was. Yes.
We need to go back. I feel like maybe that's what we're edging into.
Yeah, maybe.
Really
Fingers
so.
crossed.
Really hope so.
I also think I know we keep on saying that it's Breton, but I reckon if you didn't tell people it was Breton, they possibly wouldn't notice. I think if you just told them it was the French entry, they'd just go, "Oh yeah, it sounds kind of French with a bit of a weird accent."
It does.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing, because I think if it sounds too different, people notice it too much. But actually, it's similar enough phonetically to French that I don't think it makes too much of a difference.
No.
I mean, I know in Devant Bugale, it did sound quite different to French, which probably didn't help it. But in this song, it does sound more French, which possibly appeases the French public as well as the non-French speaking people.
Oh, can I just go into a quick rant about that for a second? Because you just reminded me, because as always, whenever France send a song that's not fully in French, there's a certain section of the French media that gets their knickers in a twist about it. And it's especially annoying because it is a French minority language, so it's not like they're singing in Chinese or something like that. And especially coming from someone who is also part of a country that lives in a region of said country that has a minority language, and the English tried their best to stamp it out in the Victorian era. It just kind of irritates me. It's just like, you poxy monoculture oppressors trying to snoot at our regional culture. Like, screw you.
Word.
Yeah, I mean, this did win a national final, and you can't win a national final without some support from the public.
Exactly.
Which it obviously did have. And you can't, I mean, Breton is not that highly populated that everyone up and bought 2 phones and kind of voted a million times. It obviously got votes from everywhere, every other place in France.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay, anything else on France before we give it a score?
I don't think so.
Okay, so let's get on with the scores. I'm going to give this a 4.
I might have to give this a 5, you know.
Okay.
I too am giving it 5.
Yes.
And the public also give it a 5 out of 5.